Hello, everyone. This is Tania Garcia, your Spanish interpreter. Just reminding you that, as usual, we have simultaneous Spanish interpretation for this meeting and as well as ASL. So if you would like to access the ASL interpretation once the feature is on, you'll need to go at the bottom of your screen if you're using a computer, and then you'll see a globe. Select the globe and select ASL. If you're joining with a cell phone or a tablet, your options will be a bit different. You need to tap your screen and find the menu with the three dots either on top or at the bottom of your device. Select Interpretation and select ASL, and sometimes you need to select Done as well to access that channel. If you need any help, you can also let us know in the chat to assist you with that, and I'm going to give my instructions in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos. Queremos recordarles que, como siempre, tenemos interpretación simultánea al español para esta reunión. Si usted desea escuchar la junta en español y se unió con una computadora, una vez que la opción sea encendida, va a ver el icono de un mundo en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Por favor, seleccione ese icono y seleccione el canal de español. Si usted ingresó utilizando un teléfono móvil o una tableta, va a tocar su pantalla y va a buscar el menú de los tres puntitos que están en la parte de arriba o abajo de su dispositivo. Seleccione Interpretación, después seleccione Español y por último el botón que diga Done, listo, finalizado o terminado. Si necesita ayuda para accesar el canal, una vez que se inicie la función, nos puede dejar saber en el chat para poderle ayudar. Thank you very much. We can start interpretation.
Thank you, Tanya. Good afternoon and welcome to the Altadena Community Meeting. We have a few short presentations and then we will answer questions that have been pre-submitted by community members. Zoom attendees can submit questions in real time using the question and answer function on their screen. Agency representatives are on the Zoom meeting and responding live. Note that questions submitted to the YouTube live chat will not be answered. If you are joining us via YouTube, I encourage you to scan the QR code on your screen now and join us via Zoom. With that, Supervisor Barger, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're keeping up the momentum and going to provide you with resources and support to recover and rebuild, something that I remain committed to. I'm excited to share that on Wednesday, we launched the USPS Village Post Office at the beloved Webster's Community Pharmacy in Altadena. This resource will allow you to send and mail packages, providing another way to stay connected to Altadena. I was proud to steward the process along in close partnerships with the Altadena Recovery and Rebuild Corporation and the previous and current Postmaster Generals. There's more than just this in the returning of the Postal Service. It's another step toward cultivating a sense of normal. This is just one of the many services we're restoring in our community. I'm pleased that we were joined by staff from LA Metro this afternoon as well, who will be answering questions regarding service in Altadena. They will share an overview of bus and metro microservices in the Altadena, North Pasadena, and Sierra Madre areas, as well as an overview of Metro's LIFE program. At our January meeting, the Metro Board approved a 6-month expansion of eligibility for the LIFE program to wildfire survivors. The goal is to ensure individuals who are displaced have access for free subsidized transit, which is vital to connect you to temporary housing, medical care, workplaces, schools, and other essential services. Given the success and high utilization of this program, the Metro Board will consider a motion I've authored this Thursday to extend the program through January of 2026. This will be an important resource to ensure you stay connected and can access the services that you need. We're also joined today by our partners at ArcStar. As you know, we launched the new AI tool last week to make the permitting process quicker and easier. With an eCheck AI pilot, you will get your building plans automatically reviewed for compliance, so you don't have to wait for them to be manually approved. This will save you significant time and allow you to continue the progress through the process of permitting without having to go back and forth with your building plans. And on the topic of rebuilding, I want to touch base on a potential rebuilding authority for LA County. Some have referenced SB 549 by Ben Allen as legislation to create this. Supervisor Horvath recently introduced a motion approved by our board that asked for a review of the legal authorities needed to create such a structure focused on rebuilding for all areas impacted by the January 2025 fires. In recent months, there have been much discussion about recovery efforts across the county, including the Blue Ribbon Commission formed by Supervisor Horvath, which supported and adopted this authority idea. I've spent many hours evaluating the need for an authority, agency, or organization that is fully dedicated to the rebuilding of Altadena with my team and the county's executive leadership. The challenge ahead of the county is clear: rebuilding public infrastructure, restoring services, and supporting families and businesses. County departments serve over 10 million residents across Los Angeles County. That's why I believe we need dedicated staffing, accountability, and resources solely for Altadena's rebuilding. That way, we're not competing with or trying to take resources from other communities across the county. This would be an entity that would have ultimate authority for reconstruction of critical infrastructure and would be the vehicle to deliver that commitment. A model of this already exists, the Altadena One-Stop Permitting Center. At the One-Stop, we've brought together the county permitting programs along with Southern California Edison under one roof. The county team assigned to the One-Stop are fully dedicated to the rebuilding of Altadena and focused on that effort. The One-Stop houses accounting permitting departments where they are working collectively to cut down on necessary processes and streamline efforts. We have more work to do, I know, to reduce the current timeline for issuing permits, but I am confident that effort will be led from the One-Stop. So that's the model we need to scale up for utilities, public infrastructure, permitting inspections, and most importantly, coordination. That includes more plan checkers and permitting staff, a major expansion of capacity for inspections, and real-time coordination across the utilities for restoration. Unlike the city of LA, the county does not have authority to control water and power. We have to work with Southern California Edison and the 3 mutual water companies that serve Altadena, in addition to Pasadena Water and Power. The work needed to repair, restore, and underground all the facilities across these agencies and the county will require close coordination to ensure that we can leverage economies of scale to drastically reduce the cost of delivering critical infrastructure and services. Without this coordination, we risk costly delays, duplicated work, and community frustration. We are also facing a fiscal reality that is uncertain. The county's budget has forced tremendous challenges in recent months, and the funding needed to restore public and private civic infrastructure is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. We cannot afford to wait for the federal disaster aid, which may not arrive for some time. And let me just say, the Woolsey fire, which took place over 3 years ago, we're now getting money for. So this is not reflective on this administration. It is just the way the federal government reimburses. But I want to emphasize one critical point. Unlike the Blue Ribbon Commission, my vision for recovery does not include new taxes or added costs to the homeowners. Again, I want to repeat that. Unlike the Blue Ribbon Commission, my vision for recovery does not include new taxes or added costs to homeowners. In fact, my goal is to use the county's leverage and partnerships to bring down costs for individuals, whether through expedited permits, shared infrastructure, planning, universal trenching, or bulk purchasing for materials and services. We're looking for ways to make this process easier and more affordable, not more expensive. Before I wrap up, I want to touch on the end of the Army Corps' debris removal operations and publicly thank the incredible leadership of the Army Corps. Colonel, I know you're going to speak, but I just want to thank you on behalf of all the Altadena residents for not only the work that you and your team have done, but also for the compassion that you've shown to homeowners who have faced such a difficult time with the cleanup. And you have shown them that you, in fact, can get it done with a heart. So I want to publicly thank you for everything that you've done. While an overwhelming majority of parcels are cleared, there are still residential and commercial parcels that have not been cleared. It's imperative that we have debris removal completed so our community can start to rebuild. There is an uncertainty rebuilding among parcels that have not been cleared in terms of health and safety, but also from a logistics perspective. That is why the county is moving forward with a summary abatement process to ensure that we have certainty about the future landscape of Altadena. If you've received a summary abatement notice, I would strongly urge you to call our debris removal hotline at 844-347-3332 to speak directly with the LA County Public Works about your plan to clear your property. The deadline for debris removal for most commercial properties is July 31st, 2025. Thank you for your continued engagement on all these issues. And again, please, I've noticed like with SB 549, the rumor was that the county was pushing this or that there was something behind wanting to take over property. Nothing could be further from the truth. I did not support SB 549. In fact, that is my concern, is that those type of overreaches are going to have a negative impact on our ability to rebuild. So I remain committed to working with you on these Tuesday or Monday calls. I want to make, clear up some of the misinformation out there. And I want you all, if you hear something, to reach out and get a clear understanding about what is going on. I am committed to keeping you all informed and advocating for every possible resource for Altadena. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Barger. And we'll now transition to our presentations for today. Our first presentation is from the Army Corps. Colonel Avichal, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor, and thanks for the opportunity for me to speak here tonight. So I'll hit numbers and then I'll get into some specific updates. So first, for awareness, total opt-ins is 5,604, and then those that have opted out is 528. So again, 5,604 opt into the program. In terms of those that we have cleared, 5,527. So that is about 98.6%. And then in terms of returning that right of entry back to the county for the final sign off, it's 5,471, which constitutes about 97.6%. Right now, we do have 12 debris crews operating in Eaton, and that number should stay, where we might get a little bit of a bump here in the coming weeks, but again, it should stay stagnant until we're about ready to wrap up. A couple of key points here. So the Altadena Golf Course, as we'd spoken before, we have stopped all incoming trucks to the golf course, and we are demobilizing from that site right now. We're about 85% demobilized. I was on the site today. We still have, I think, one more scale to take down, and then we will begin redoing that site so that it will become a functional golf course like it used to be. And we are actively working with LA County Parks and Recreation through this entire process. Secondly, Elliott School, that project remains on track. If you do go up Lake Avenue, you'll definitely be able to see the progress that has been made so far. Again, this one is a pretty complicated debris removal operation. We estimate about 3 months to take, which will put us at about mid to late September by the time we are complete with that project. But again, still on track. And then I did want to just hit on one last thing. So my tour, personal tour, will end August 8th. I do have a replacement. We are still going to have a presence here through the Elliott School and through the restoration of the Altadena Golf Course. I do have a replacement as well who is lined up. Again, that will be, our transition will take place on August 8th. But again, thank you, and I will remain on the line for any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Colonel Avichal. Our next presentation is from Public Works and Regional Planning. Luis, go ahead.
I always have a hard time finding my unmute button, but here we go. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to be talking about the summary abatement process. As you heard the supervisor at the beginning of the discussion, the county is now moving into the enforcement part of the abatement, summary abatement process. June 30th was the last day for folks that opted out of the fire debris removal process through the Army Corps to have cleared their properties of fire ash and debris. We posted SANO's summary abatement orders and notices at the end of the month. Out of those, 18 appeals were received and 6 were denied. Most of those denials were because work was in progress and the appeal was denied due to the fact that folks had missed the June 30th deadline. There were a group of commercial properties, which includes both businesses and multi-family, multi-unit residential properties that had applied for a special inclusion into the Army Corps program. And at the end of June, 28 properties had been denied or not accepted into the program. So, as you heard the supervisor mention, these folks have been given until July 31st to complete their debris removal process. We have been working with them to make sure that they have a fire debris removal permit, and we'll be checking up on these properties in the next week or so to confirm that the work is progressing and that it will be completed by the end of the month. This also goes for some of the residential properties that did not complete the abatement work by June 30th, but had already begun the work. We will also be checking next week to make sure that that work is completed. There were a total of 18 properties in Altadena that were transferred over to FEMA Army Corps for abatement. These were properties where abatement had not begun as at the end of the abatement, the summary abatement order process completion, which was June 30th. As part of the process, we sent all of these residents a follow-up notice detailing what steps the county had taken to try to bring them into compliance and letting them know that Army Corps would be moving forward with abating their property. Based on the information we received last week, our understanding is that the abatement of these properties will begin at the end of this week and continue throughout the month of July. And Army Corps will be doing the notice to customers or to residents prior to beginning the abatement work. That is my update on the summary abatement process, and I'll be here in case there are any other questions. Thank you.
All right, kicking it over to Mitch.
All right, thank you, Kira. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to talk a little bit more about the ArchiStar launch that the supervisor mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. So it is a new program. It's available at echeck.lacounty.gov. Our pilot launched just last Tuesday, July 15th. This is the result of an innovative public-private philanthropic partnership involving ArchiStar, which is an artificial intelligence software company. They're some of the best in class when it comes to software that can review plans for compliance with building and zoning rules. They have many clients in Australia, Canada, as well as the United States. Amazon and Autodesk are two other tech companies that are involved. We also received funding from the California Fire Foundation, LA Rises, which is a nonprofit that was established by Governor Newsom. The governor's office is also directly involved, and Steadfast LA, the nonprofit organization, is involved as well. So moving on to the next slide, I'll talk about what eCheck is at a high level. So as I mentioned, it is customer-facing web application that reviews building plans before they're submitted. It uses artificial intelligence to check compliance with the county's zoning and building codes, and it flags potential issues early, reducing errors and unnecessary delays. And that means two things primarily. The first is that the quality of the initial application is better, so our initial review goes by more quickly. Secondly, and related to that, we're returning about half of the applications after the initial review because there needs to be some corrections to the plans to comply with the zoning rules, or we need more information because we can't make a determination. So we'd like to bring that number way down, and we think that e-check is one way to do that. Next slide, please. So just more general benefits. It can cut review times. It reduces back and forth between applicants and our staff. As I mentioned, it makes the process more predictable. And this tool is free to use thanks to that public-private philanthropic partnership. Not only was the county able to obtain this tool at no cost to our departments, but it's also a free tool for the fire survivors to use as well. And this is just one part of our effort to streamline rebuilding in all of our unincorporated communities. Moving on to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about how this pilot program works. As I mentioned, it's available at echeck.lacounty.gov. You can register for an account there. And participants in this pilot are helping to train the AI model. Our staff have been working closely with ArchiStar for about 6 weeks to test the AI, make sure it understands our zoning rules, but there's more work that needs to be done. Right now, as part of the pilot, plans are being reviewed for compliance with the zoning code only. The building code will be added very soon. In addition, it's only reviewing plans for single-family home rebuilds in our single-family residence zone, also known as R1, but other residential projects like duplexes and apartment buildings and other residential zones will be added soon. If you choose to use ArchiStar, there is a like-for-like option to make sure that your plans are actually like-for-like. If you know your plans are not like-for-like, there's also a non-like-for-like review option that will evaluate your plans with current zoning rules. As part of this pilot, as I mentioned, it's not quite ready to work on its own, so to speak. So the results are being reviewed by a planner at my department before they're returned to the customer. And then after the customer gets the report back, after the planner reviews it, they'll go ahead and submit it with the rebuild application. And as part of this pilot, because the planners are reviewing it before the customer gets the results, it may take up to 10 business days, but depending on the project, it could be much sooner than that. Moving on to the last slide here, just talking about where we are and where we're going. This is a screenshot of an actual e-check report. So as you can see, it breaks down project review by the different zoning rules, and it's a very simple green check for compliance. There aren't any reds on this report, but there'll be a red if something does not comply, and then gray means it's not applicable. So already we've had 51 account signups and 9 submissions, which is great. We've already been able to return 1 report to the customer after planning reviewed it, and 6 additional ones are currently being reviewed by our staff. So e-check's going to be crucial to maintain and improve our review times as the number of applications increase, which the supervisor mentioned. And one of the things we're excited about is that it will also help our staff spend more time on things that we think are more meaningful to the fire survivors. So right now, our planners are spending a lot of time determining whether a project is like for like, or measuring the height, measuring the setbacks. And so the AI tool will now start doing that for folks who choose to use it. And so we expect that our planners will have more time providing services directly at the one-stop center, but also engaging in more proactive outreach, whether those are some of the online workshops that have been going on, proactively going out and meeting with community organizations. We see a lot of benefit there. So we're looking forward to implementation and finding other things for our team to do. So that's an overview of Archistar. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kira for the remainder of our update.
Great, thank you very much, Mitch. And as of this week, we continue to see progress across all phases of permitting, plan checks, and approvals. So this dashboard displayed on the screen can be found at our recovery.lacounty.gov site on the rebuilding section, and it's updated several times a day each weekday. So looking at today's updates, 1,110 rebuild applications have been received by Los Angeles County in the Altadena area. Planning received applications and review for what is proposed to be built and where on a site. This number that planning reflects includes all permit types, including new single-family homes, accessory dwelling units, garages, multifamily applications, non-residential projects, and there's one application submitted per parcel to planning, and planning have cleared 730 zoning reviews. And then when full building plans are prepared and submitted, detailing how the structure is to be built, then a project moves to the building plan review stage and is reviewed at the same time by all of the other permitting departments, including Public Works, Fire, and Public Health, if appropriate. So 635 plan reviews are in progress. At this stage, separate permits are created for each structure, but the applicant does not need to file any additional applications. And including all permit types, 103 permits have been issued in the Altadena area to date. It has been averaging 57 business days from initial submittal to permit issuance. And this includes the designer's time to create and submit the full building plans and the times that designers are revising their plans to incorporate plan review comments. The goal is to reduce this overall time for rebuilds, and the county is working with designers to accelerate all steps of the process. In addition to the dashboard this week is the table and pie chart on the right-hand side of your screen. And this shows where projects are in their review. So this data is for the building plan review, and it's updated weekly, and it only includes new residential projects. So that includes new single-family homes, accessory dwelling units, and multifamily units. So about 200 new residential projects have been reviewed and are back with the designers for revisions. 44 applications were received into building plan check, but didn't have the full design package. So they're pending additional documents for review. 77 projects are in initial review, and 48 total have been revised by the designers and are back in for review for confirmation of edits. Finally, 18 plans are approved pending clearances, such as a will serve letter from the water purveyor, and 18 projects are ready for issuance pending the applicant. An applicant might be securing financing or selecting a builder prior to pulling building permits and starting construction. We do remain committed to expediting approvals, and our commitment is that rebuild projects will be reviewed in 10 business days for initial reviews and 5 business days for any additional reviews. Planning has been processing reviews within 7 business days, and Public Works has been processing reviews within 10 business days. And if we could go to the next slide, please. I just wanted to take a moment to show some recent photos that highlight the progress being made in the Altadena community. This first photo shows the majority of properties cleared from debris. And if we can move to the next slide, please. These impactful photos show further progress and construction ongoing at a couple of sites in Altadena. And if we could go to the last slide, please. I think we've exceeded our time today, but did want to share, we have another great video called An Express Lane to Rebuilding. And so you can check out that video highlighting Archistar that we talked about today, and also pre-approved plans. And you can find that video on the recovery.lacounty.gov website under Newsroom, and featured videos. So again, the video covers like-for-like rebuilds, ArchiStar eCheck, pre-approved plans, and more. So I hope you can take 2 minutes is how long it would take to watch that express lane on the road to recovery video. And from there, I think the last slide is thank you, and we'll stick around for questions. Thank you.
Thank you to the team at Public Works and Regional Planning for that information. Our next presentation is from Acting Captain Marquez with the Sheriff Department. Go ahead.
Hi, can you bring up the PowerPoint, please? All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to just thank everybody in the community that's reached out to Altadena Station regarding the deputies who passed away on Friday. Thank you for all the kind words and condolences. We really appreciate it. And those deputies are in our hearts right now, and we're thinking about them all the time. If you have questions, generally we post things that are happening in the community on our social media pages. So I just recommend that everybody in the community go to our social media pages to find out information on recent arrests or things that are happening. Sometimes there's rumors that are spread on social media or things that happen or people have questions. And really just you can always reach out to us or follow us on those pages. But if you do have a question regarding any kind of law enforcement activities, please feel free to reach out to the Sheriff's Station. That's what we're here for. We are open 24/7, and we can always reach out and we can always answer questions. They can just make a phone call to us. There's the business line right there that a deputy will, or one of our law enforcement technicians will pick up the phone. Next page, please. So these are some of our crime reduction strategies we've been implementing here at Altadena. Parking enforcement is one of the key things we're using right now, or we're utilizing. Our parking enforcement team has done a great job. One of the major concerns we have are storage containers. Another one's going to be RVs, trailers, oversized vehicles, and any vehicles that are going to be parked over 72 hours. So those are our major concerns. And we're currently working with park enforcement to implement strategies to either have people just move them. That's our ultimate goal, but citations if necessary. Another one's going to be traffic enforcement, and the deputies at Altadena Station, plus the overtime people that are coming in, and our partners at the CHP are doing a great job with traffic enforcement. One of the key goals with that is to reduce traffic collisions and just make the roads safer, especially when we have commercial vehicles driving around. Those vehicles can't stop as fast as vehicle or cars can. So we want to make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody. And those pickup trucks from CHP, those are our partners at CHP conducting commercial enforcement, and just to make the roadway safer for everybody, especially as those trucks get loaded in with 50 to 80,000 pounds of material. We still are bringing in a bunch of extra deputies. The department has funded us with several $1 million to keep the overtime going. That should be able to almost double our staffing per shift and provide, just be able to provide the adequate security in the community that we're looking for. We're still conducting special operations on a periodic basis, and all the techniques that we've been employing in the past, we're still trying to implement basically a community partnership so that the community can work with us on ways that they can utilize to lower crime in their community or near their house, and especially for the businesses when they come back. Our Altadena deputies have done a great job. We've executed numerous search warrants in the area and even outside of the county. We've executed several search warrants for burglary suspects, made numerous arrests on people that were harming our Altadena community. And recently, last week, we conducted a major search warrant operation where we executed one in San Luis Obispo County and in our county area of Pasadena at the same time simultaneously. And that resulted in a arrest of a person who was out victimizing the community during the rebuilds or during the debris removal. And now we're looking to prepare for the next phase of construction and rebuild. We're in the process of kind of transitioning between one phase to the next. But we are strategizing in ways we can be ready for when the major construction really starts in Altadena. And lastly, we also had our detectives execute a search warrant of a cannabis store on Lincoln, and we shut that location down. There's cannabis stores are not cannot legally operate in LA County, in the county area of Altadena. So we shut them down along with our narcotics bureau. If you can go to the next slide, please. What's happened is that this is a reduction in home burglaries. I know that was a big topic of discussion over the past few months. And as you can see, based on the graph, that we are now below in terms of June numbers. We don't have July yet, but in June numbers, we are below what we saw in December 2024. So we continue to trend down, and with the current stats, the preliminary data that we have, it looks like we're going to continue this trend, and we want to keep it there. And that's why we're continuing to implement the crime strategies that we used in the past. If we can go to the next slide. So these are some of the community events that are coming up. I didn't have a date for the guac with a cop that we put together, and that was just a method for the residents to come out, meet the deputies in a kind of a fun environment where they can talk with them, meet them, and really get to know their community deputies here in Altadena. The next one is going to be Wednesday. It's going to be a community conversation at the Altadena Library, Wednesday the 23rd, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that's essentially like a town hall meeting. You can come, be able to answer some of the same questions I'm talking about here, some of the same things we're talking about here, but answer questions for you. On August 23rd at 8 a.m., we're going to have the bus pool. We're still trying to nail down the location, but as soon as we do, we have a couple different locations. We're not going to have it at the Rite Aid parking lot. There's a couple different problems with using the parking lot now, but we do have a couple possible places, and we look forward to seeing the community come out and help us raise money for Altadena. We're partnering with Temple Sheriff Station. And then lastly, on Sunday, January 4th, we are going to have a 5K run walk and a 10K run through Altadena, and that's going to be a major fundraiser for Altadena community to help out residents during the rebuild. And that's going to be we're partnering just with the one of the Sheriff's Department nonprofits to put that together. Can I go to the next page, please? Recently, we just had one of our deputies go to the Altadena Library to do a book read, and this is something new that we started. It's going to be just a way to build relationships with the community, especially our young people. And so this is Deputy Iglesias. He works in Altadena. He patrols here for a number of years. He's one of our FTOs and our field training officers, and he was just there for the book read. And we're going to be having another deputy be at the library to do it during a book read September. Next slide, please. And that's it. So please follow us on social media. And if there's any questions, I'll stick around and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last presentation is from LA Metro. Wayne, go ahead.
Okay, can you throw on that presentation? So my name is Wayne Wassell. I am the Director of Service Planning here at LA Metro. You can go to the next slide. You know, when these fires hit in January, it tore through Altadena, obviously, and parts of Pasadena, which prompted us to have to make an emergency transit adjustments to two of our bus lines. That was line 660 and 662, which traveled north of Woodbury. So we had to stop it short and create some detours. And so we didn't operate we don't, even to this day, don't operate north of Woodbury. And so while these ran on a detour for 6 months, we finally formalized them and scheduled them as such in order for us to create timetables that passengers could follow. And so that the timetable matched the service that was being operated. We also made changes to our Altadena, Pasadena, Sierra Madre zone, where we stopped serving, obviously, in parts where there was fire damage, but then we also extended the zone to serve parts that weren't being served previously, such as the Northwest expansion that would serve a non-affected residential community up there on the west side of the service zone to serve the Rose Bowl and the Rose Bowl Aquatic Center, and then also on the southwest lower zone to serve the Huntington Library. And I'll show you pictures on the next two slides. Next, there you go. So line 660 today, while the regular route actually operates between Loma Alta Drive all the way and Fair Oaks all the way down to Delmar for most of the day, and a couple of trips late at night when the 260 is not operating down Huntington Drive. Currently now, because of the scheduled detour, it doesn't travel, like I said, north of Woodbury. So it stops right there it turns around at Woodbury and Woodbury and Fair Oaks. And then 662, which normally operates a bi-directional circulator, it starts and ends at Altadena and Lake normally, while now it starts and ends at Lincoln and Woodbury. So you can see the routes here. And right now, they're scheduled this way. We're looking forward to the fire recovery build out, so that as soon as we can start to operate the regular route, we'll start doing so. Next slide, please. This is the metro microzone for the Altadena, Pasadena, Sierra Madre service area. If you look at the blue outline, that's what we're serving today. If you look at the little striped areas, that's what the zone was looking like before the fires. And then we expanded, as you can see on the north side of the map itself, and then to the west, you can see that in the lower left on the bottom in Pasadena, where it serves the library. And now I will hand this off to Michael.
Thank you, Wayne. Good afternoon, everyone. Michael Cortez. I'm the director of the LIGHT program. The LIGHT program is a fare discounted program designed to help qualifying riders save on fares. Back in January, to the amazing leadership of Supervisor Barger and her colleagues on the Metro Board, they modified the LIGHT program to lift the income requirements to provide much needed public transportation assistance to those that need it were impacted by the wildfires. So what are those benefits? The benefits are people get a free pass for 90 days when they enroll. It's an unlimited free rides they can use on Metro, bus, or rail, on participating transit agencies. We have 16 transit agencies, which includes Foothill Transit, Pasadena Transit, and you can also use it on Metro Micro on that map that Wayne just showed. If you don't have any service near you, Metro Micro would be the way to go. Besides those 90 days of unlimited rides, after that is complete, you would get 20 free rides a month that can be used on the same systems, the 16 transit agencies, as well as Metro. And then you can also save on fare capping if you go beyond those 20 free rides, where you would be able to get discounted rides after you've already utilized all of the benefits in the LIGHT program. We're currently accepting folks into the program. If you're not already on it, as Supervisor Barger mentioned, it's going to the Metro Board on Thursday to extend it all the way to December, but that shouldn't discourage you from applying. We want you to apply. You just go to metro.net/fire response, or just go to the metro.net website and look for it, and you can get direct to the page to enroll. We have about over 6,000 people enrolled in the program now, a little bit over 2,500 active users using their benefits. So if you're kind of on the edge of thinking like, should I apply or not, please go into and actually apply, because hearing the stories of people that have benefited from it just to get to an appointment or get around, it's been very useful. So we urge you to apply for the LIGHT program, and we're here to assist you. That's it for me on my end. Thank you. I think that's it for us.
Thank you, Wayne and Michael, for that update. We will now transition to the question and answer portion of our evening. The following questions were submitted ahead of tonight's community meeting, and we will answer as many of them as we can. As a reminder, you can find answers to frequently asked questions on recovery.lacounty.gov/Altadena. Zoom participants can also submit questions in real time using the Q&A function found at the bottom of their screens. For those of you who are on YouTube and would like to submit questions, I encourage you to hop onto the Zoom meeting using the QR code on your screen. We will leave this QR code up for the duration of the response to the first question, and then we will take it down. Our first question is for the Sheriff's Department. And it reads, can we leave our vehicle parked in our driveway overnight as an exception to the parking citations?
I think there might be a clarification needed. I'm not sure. Well, I guess the answer is yes. You can park your vehicle in your driveway as long as you're not blocking a sidewalk. There is no restriction on overnight parking on your own property. The question comes into if you're blocking a sidewalk, then that would be a citable offense. Really, it's going to be for parking on the street. So, you know, your vehicles cannot be on the street for more than 72 hours. And I'm not sure if there's maybe a misunderstanding about the parking enforcement rules. Maybe they could hit me on the chat and ask me, and I'll see if I can answer.
Thank you for that point of clarity. Next question is for Public Works. For those who opted into the Army Corps debris removal, how can we find out the costs that they will be recovering from homeowners insurance?
Great, I'll take a first stab at that one. And the Army Corps will be providing the county with per parcel cost data after the debris removal mission has completed. It is expected that information will be available by the end of the year.
Thank you. And another question for Public Works. On the Public Works Recovery website, there's a statement that says the county will only collect the remaining insurance proceeds, if any, after you've removed fire-related debris not included as part of the government-sponsored program. The question is, will property owners be able to request extensions to complete fire-related debris removal that were not included as part of the Army Corps removal?
Great, so insurance collection efforts will not begin again until the cost data is available from the Army Corps, likely around the end of the year, and property owners should work with their insurance to remove remaining debris as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Another question for Public Works. As part of the rebuild of our house, we plan to connect to the public sewer system under our street because we are within 200 linear feet of the sewer. Can we use the old seepage pit for stormwater runoff mitigation?
Great, so that's a very specific question. So I will ask if the inquirer could email me at C as in cat, my last name Barnett, BARNETT, at pw.lacounty.gov. And I can reply with for LID compliance. Most residential rebuilds do not fall under the priority or non-designated classification, and infiltration most likely will not be required. So as such, the use of these seepage pits wouldn't be reviewed as an LID best management practice, but also for drainage compliance, I'd have a number of responses there as well. So again, if somebody could email me at cbarnett@pw.lacounty.gov, that'll be the best way to get that specific information. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is for Colonel Avichal. Is there an ETA on the commercial area debris removal?
Yep. So, I think probably just one thing to understand is that not every commercial property is part of the Army Corps program. So for the ones that we are doing, should be complete by mid to late August. Again, not everyone is in our program, so those would have to require their own private debris removal if they're not already in the program. Thanks.
Thank you. And turning back to Public Works, do you know if there has been any plan to assist with the water, mud, and land flow from the burn scar in the coming fall and winter seasons?
Great, I'll take that one as well. And for the pending storm season, the LA County Flood Control District will continue to maintain flood control infrastructure to protect communities from post-fire flooding and mud flows. And post-fire mud flow engineering advice and sandbags will continue to be made available for homeowners.
Thank you, Kiara. Another question for Public Works, but shifting the focus. It asks, are we able to see the progress of our specific properties permit requests?
Great, and so yes, within our permitting software, Epic LA, you will see your specific project progress, and you can certainly touch base with the Altadena One Stop as well, if you'd like to find out where your project is in the process and what is pending.
Thank you. Our next question, do ADUs, excuse me, have to have a separate address? And do they, if they do they also require separate water and electricity services from the main residence? And I know that's a multi-part question, so I'll turn it over to Public Works first, then SoCal Edison, and a rep from our water agencies.
Great, and so as you said, a multi-part question. So if an address is required for an accessory dwelling unit, it would be optional. And then if an ADU can be permitted underneath the existing address, if a separate address is desired or needed because of separate utilities that are planned for that accessory dwelling unit, then a request for a half fractional number to the existing main address should be submitted to Public Works, Survey Mapping and Property Management Division. And so then an address would end up with the half address. So if it was 1234 Main, it would become 1234.5 Main. If an ADU has a separate driveway or street access from the main house, then a separate address is required. And then only accessory dwelling units would have an accessory, an optional for an address. A junior accessory dwelling unit would not have a separate address as it's considered part of the primary dwelling.
Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Dave with SoCal Edison to answer the question specific to electricity.
Yeah, I think Clara partially answered our question, our response. I think it's case by case with customers. If they have a separate, if they're going to register to ADU as a separate address, then more than likely it will have to have a separate meter panel. If it's probably best in some ways, that way you can monitor the use of electricity at the premises, and it helps you calculate the actual usage there at the ADU, and also sizing up your meter, your meter usage and panel size. If you're going to have an additional dwelling unit, you might have to upgrade your panel anyway. And probably the best thing to do, and I put my email in the chat for that particular customer to respond to me directly, and I'll have our planning and operations team follow up with them.
Thank you, Dave. And Jennifer, I see that your camera is on. I'm assuming you will be speaking for water.
Yes, so the requirements would vary based on your water agency, but for Lincoln Avenue Water, the only time we're going to request an address is if you are requesting a separate water meter to service that ADU, and we don't require you to put in a separate water service meter.
Thank you, everyone, for helping answer that question. Our next question is for the team over at Metro. Does Metro Micro or any transit currently serve Loma Alta Park, the Altadena Community Center, and the library?
Wayne, I think you're on mute. Wayne, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm on mute. Were you speaking? Oh, okay. I know that right now like I said, as far north as Lincoln and Fair Oaks and Woodbury, that's how as far as the 660 and the 662 operate. Everywhere else in Altadena and Pasadena and Sierra Madre that isn't served by those two lines is served by Metro Micro.
And I would just add for Metro Micro, for anyone who's booking a trip, pickup and drop off locations occur at major intersections, points of interest, bus and rail stations, as Wayne mentioned, other key locations within the designated Metro Micro zone. The best way you could do is download the Metro Micro app and book your ride there, or go book online at ridemicro.metro.net, or you can call to book at 323-GO Metro. So there's various ways you can book your ride, and if you're still wondering where we can help pick you up, you can always call that, or go on the website where you can see where we can pick you up.
Thank you. And we have another question for Dave Ford with SoCal Edison. Is there a map that shows where undergrounding will occur in Altadena? And if not, where can residents access that information?
Yes, there is a current map that shows the scope of work that we have for the build out of our system undergrounding in the high wildfire area, as well as on the outside of that area, an additional 23 miles. We have 40 miles that will be in the high wildfire area of undergrounding, an additional 23. What I'd like to do is be able, I can send that individual the map, or actually put it in the chat, that they can see the actual build out of our system and where that would be at. But in the meantime, I'll give them my email address if that would be better for them. That way they can actually share their information with me, and then we can actually identify their residents if it's under that scope of undergrounding. I can put my email address in the chat.
Thank you, Dave. We have another question, and this question is for Public Works. And it says, we submitted our documents for permitting last week and they are still not showing up as received. How can I assure that my permits are in process if there are no updates online, either for Public Works or for regional planning?
Mitch, you want to try taking that one first, or?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. Well, first of all, similar to the answers to some other questions, I'd appreciate it if you could send your address to me. It's mglaser, MGLASER at planning.lacounty.gov. Part of the reason I'd like to look up the address is that your permit should be in the system as soon as we receive it, even if we haven't had an opportunity to take a look at it. So I'm not sure why you're not able to find any information at all, but would like to get that to you as soon as possible. Kira, I don't know if that covers it or if you'd like to add anything else.
Great, and I'll just put it in the chat to everyone again, but you can always follow up with me too. If you've progressed into the building or at any stage in the process, you could reach out to me and I can clarify where that project is in the process. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you both. And that concludes all the time we have for questions today. As a reminder, if you would like additional information or to see frequently asked questions, you can visit recovery.lacounty.gov /Altadena. Signing off.